everyone, welcome back to True Crime Buzz. I am your host Amber, and with me as always is Brittany.
Hello.
Brittany, what are you drinking?
Diet Sam's Cola.
Diet Sam's Cola for the win. Why do we even bother anymore? Because you're always drinking Diet Sam's Cola or Diet Coke, and I'm always drinking Rex Goliath. I got the whole bottle with me this time.
Yes.
Because I just thought maybe I want more than a glass, you know? We record for a while.
Yes, that's true. We do.
I want to say YOLO, but that'll show my age.
Yeah, I don't think the kids still say YOLO today.
I don't think they ever really did.
They do that thing with their fingers together like that, the awkward thing, and they turn.
I have never heard of that in my life.
It's on TikTok. They're always doing that.
I haven't been on TikTok in a few days.
I have 86 unwatched videos on TikTok, and I think 44 of them are from you. I haven't been on TikTok in over a month.
Speaking of TikTok, we're going to break down and get one.
Yes.
I don't know what content we're going to put on there, but we're going to give it a whirl.
We are. Bear with
These
us.
old millennials over here.
That's right.
Watch out, Gen Zers. Us and our Diet Sam's Cola and wine, we're coming for you.
That's the worst advertisement for a TikTok ever.
As much as I want to chit chat, today is a heavy hitter, and I've been waiting for this for, I think, since we started this podcast together. Yes. I was like, one day you got to do this person.
Today, I'm covering a rare type of serial killer, a female serial killer, and a very infamous one at that. If you are a regular listener, you can probably guess who I'm covering because I constantly equate my bad hair days to looking like this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Her hairstyle is as well known as her crimes are. There have been big box office movies and TV specials made about this woman, her bizarre behavior, and her horrible crimes. The most well-known movie starred Charlize Theron and was appropriately titled Monster. That's right, today we are talking about Aileen Wuornos.
Yes! The queen of serial killers.
Yes.
I guarantee you if you went around to everyone like on the street and you'd say, name a female serial killer, that's the first one they'll say.
Well, I told my parents who I was covering, and they're like, who? And I was like, you know, the movie Monster. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay.
As I told you the other day, I've not seen Monster, I'm ashamed to say. And as I was looking it up, you're like, don't you dare watch it until we are done. So nope. I will not watch it. I don't know why I've not watched it. But
I don't know either.
I've heard it's amazing. And all I know about it is it's about Aileen Wuornos. And Charlize Theron said in an interview, because she put on some weight to get full into character.
Yes.
She had to set alarms through the middle of the night every few hours to wake up and force herself to eat bowls of mac and cheese. That's how she gained all the weight. Poor pitiful her.
That's awful.
I know.
All right, so let's jump right in.
Yes, let's.
So Aileen's parents were Diane Wuornos and Leo Pittman. They got married on June 3rd, 1954, when Diane was 14 and Leo was 16.
Whoa.
Yes.
Children getting married. We're starting out great.
Yeah, great start. Well, it's very foretelling of what the rest of the story is like, okay? So in 1955, they welcomed a son, Keith. Then 2 months shy of Aileen being born, Diane filed for divorce from Leo. On February 29th, 1956, less than a full year after Keith was born, Aileen Carol Pittman, also known as Aileen Wuornos, was born in Rochester, Michigan. So they were Irish twins, like my kids. They weren't even a full year apart.
And happy late birthday to Miss Aileen.
Oh, yes. Aileen actually never got to meet her father as he was convicted of child molestation and incarcerated at the time of her birth.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So she never even got to meet him?
Never. Her entire life. She never met her father.
Wow.
It should also be noted that Leo was also previously diagnosed with schizophrenia. In no way am I saying persons with schizophrenia harm children, but I do feel the schizophrenia pertains to Aileen's mental health later on down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
If you know who she is, you know I'm not wrong. In January 1960, when Aileen was almost 4, her mother abandoned Aileen and Keith, leaving them with her alcoholic parents, Lori and Britta Wuornos. Could you have not found somebody else better to abandon your kids with than your alcoholic parents?
I mean, where did she go? She just took off?
She's dipped.
Lovely.
Yes. Her parents legally adopted Keith and Aileen on March 18th, 1960. So that's when Aileen Pittman became Aileen Wuornos. And unfortunately, life just continued to get worse for Aileen. Eileen's grandfather would force her as a child to strip out of her clothes so he could rape her.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Her grandfather?
Her grandfather. Worst person ever. By the time Aileen was 11, she had begun having sex at school with people in exchange for cigarettes, drugs, and food. She had also been engaging in sexual activities with her brother Keith. Then Leo, her biological dad, hung himself in prison on January 30th, 1969.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't even make this up. It's so bad.
It is. It's horrible.
The fact that she even grew up at all.
But hold tight, because it only gets worse. So, take a swig of that wine, girlfriend.
Okay.
Then, in 1970, at 14, Aileen became pregnant after being raped by one of her grandfather's friends. Her grandparents then sent her to a home for unwed mothers where she gave birth to a son on March 23rd, 1971, who was placed for adoption.
Oh, she has a son. I did not know that.
I'm sure that's for a reason.
I know, but do you think he knows?
I mean, maybe. You know, some people don't choose to ever find out about their birth parents. Other people do want to know. So I guess it just depends on if he wanted to know or not.
Ooh, okay.
A few months after the birth of her son, Eileen's grandmother died from liver failure, and Aileen dropped out of high school. Her grandfather kicked her out of the house right after her grandmother died. And at 15, Aileen began supporting herself by having sex for money or necessities and living in the woods near her old house. And this is also when she began to hitchhike.
I mean, what else do? You're homeless. I can't even imagine going through even a fraction of what she's gone through so far. And she's only
15. And again, I say, she was obviously a minor. She was not a prostitute. She was not a sex worker. She was a victim trying to survive being homeless at 15.
Correct.
At 18, Aileen was arrested in Jefferson County, Colorado for a DUI, disorderly conduct, and firing a firearm from a moving vehicle. She decided to skip out on court for these charges and was charged with failure to appear. Then 2 years later, in 1976, Aileen hitchhiked her way to Florida, where she met 69-year-old Louis Grotz Fell. Louis was the president of a yacht club and quite high society. Aileen and Louis married quickly, and their marriage announcement was printed in the society pages of local newspapers.
She got a sugar daddy?
She did, girl. She got her sugar daddy. Which, if the story ended here, it would be reminiscent of one of my favorite country songs, Fancy, that is sung by Queen Reba, okay? But unfortunately, this is more like Fancy Gone Wrong.
Absolutely.
Aileen could not resist getting into confrontations at local bars and went to jail briefly for assault. She also ended up hitting Louis with his own cane, causing him to take out a restraining order against Aileen.
Oh, no.
Yes. And this is just a few weeks after their wedding.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Just a few weeks.
I don't think there was any honeymoon period there.
No. So Aileen left Florida and she returned to her home state of Michigan. And on July 14th, 1976, she was arrested and charged with assault after she threw a cue ball at a bartender's head. She was also charged with disturbing the peace for that incident.
She is a pistol, isn't she?
She is. She is a pistol. Then it takes a sad turn. So 3 days later, after she had been arrested and charged with those charges, Eileen's brother Keith lost his battle with esophageal cancer on July 17th, 1976.
You know, that had to break her heart.
It probably really did. Aileen received $10,000 from her brother's life insurance policy. Then, on July 21st, after only 9 weeks of marriage, Louis and Aileen annulled their marriage. Shocker, right?
Oh, okay.
Then in August, Aileen was made to pay a $105 fine for drunk driving. She used some of the life insurance money from her brother to pay the fine and then spent the next 2 months blowing through the rest of the $10K, buying all sorts of stuff, including a new car, which then she wrecked shortly after purchasing.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you, what?
Aileen is like the hot mess express.
She is. Around this time is when Aileen started getting arrested for prostitution and a myriad of other pretty violent crimes. I mean, she's already had some violent arrests, but she ramps it up. So then in May of 1981, Aileen decided to rob a store in Edgewater, Florida of $35 and 2 packs of cigarettes. I know.
I'm sorry.
I've evidently got like a thing for serial killers that rob stores for cigarettes. But she was arrested and charged with armed robbery. She served time from May 4th, 1982 to June 30th, 1983. Once released, she picked back up on her life of crime. What's a little prison time, you know?
Well, I mean, that's all she knows, to be fair.
It really is. Aileen was again arrested on May 1st, 1984 for attempting to cash forged checks at a Key West bank. Then, the next November, she was a suspect in a case that involved a stolen revolver and ammunition. Hold tight to that in your memory. On January 4th, 1986, Aileen was arrested and charged in Miami for car theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction of justice. The obstruction was for giving officers her aunt's license when she was asked for ID. I don't know what that was about. I didn't even know she had an aunt, but...
That's what I was just getting ready to ask, but okay.
Yeah. They recovered a .38 caliber revolver and ammunition, exactly what was missing in the earlier case she had been a suspect in. But I guess that wasn't a big deal to them.
Oh, so they didn't charge her with anything.
No, I mean, she was charged for car theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction of justice, but I guess they just didn't care about the revolver and ammunition she had been questioned about prior, so...
My God. This happened in the 80s?
Yep, in the 80s.
Where was Cops?
I don't know.
She is a crazy woman in Florida in the 80s, and she's not on an episode of Cops.
I swear, I will pay somebody $10 if they can find an episode of Aileen Wuornos.
I'll pay more than that.
Cops. All right.
How she didn't make it onto an episode of Cops is beyond me. I feel like if she did, we would have seen it by now.
Well, the internet's a wild place. It might be out there.
Not as wild as Miss Aileen, though.
No, that's true.
Today's episode is presented by Away Travel. Quite simply, Away makes everything you need for a trip away. Away started with the perfect suitcase, then built from there, creating a range of travel standards developed from the travel stories of friends and seatmates. The pieces aren't smart, they're thoughtful, with features that solve real travel problems. To give the whole world access to better travel standards, Away took the direct-to-consumer approach to lower prices, and the quality is guaranteed. Your Away suitcase will be with you for life. We are teaming up with Away and Podgo to give you the best deal on premium luggage by going to podgo.co/away. That's podgo.co/away. Away Travel, here to make your journey seamless.
She was questioned in June of 1986 by Volusia County officers after a male companion went to the police claiming that Aileen had pulled a gun on him and demanded $200. Aileen had spare ammo on her, and when the cops looked in the car, they found a .22 pistol under her seat that Aileen had been sitting in, and the whole incident was a huge warning sign of things to come.
They just keep finding her with guns.
They do. She was a lover of guns, of the firearms.
Yes, she was. That was her weapon of choice, other than the cue ball.
Yeah, she likes a cue ball. It should be noted that people that knew Aileen, police officers, etc., constantly described Aileen as erratic and easily angered. In fact, her lengthy records of arrests noted, quote, attitude poor, end quote.
Attitude poor.
She was very easily agitated. Also, in 1986, Aileen met Tyria Moore at a lesbian bar in Daytona Beach. Tyria was a hotel maid at the time, and Aileen and Tyria began a serious, passionate relationship filled with crime. Tyria was only Eileen's second relationship with a woman, and most of Eileen's clients in her sex work were low-income to middle-class white men who were middle-aged. Aileen ended up supporting herself and her partner with her earnings in sex work, and Aileen and Tyria also sold stolen items to pawn shops to support themselves. In July 1987, Daytona Beach officers questioned Tyria and Aileen over an assault with a beer bottle accusation that took place at a bar.
Assault with a beer bottle?
Mm-hmm.
The pool table was taken.
She's a wild woman.
Whatever she can get her hands on is a weapon.
Cue ball, beer bottle, guns. My name's Aileen Wuornos, and I'll fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
That's her, okay?
If I was to ever be legitimately scared of someone, as far as like serial killers, you know, if you're like in a room with a bunch of them, I'd probably be scared of her the most. Just because she's crazy. Yeah.
I feel like I would have been really good friends with Aileen Wuornos.
Like to physically hurt you?
I mean, yeah. I love her, though. Like, I love her. I want to be friends with her.
Because she's a wild spirit. She's like...
But, like, you and I, neither one are in her victimology, so...
Right.
We weren't men. Her preferred victims, so we would have been okay.
I don't know. I guess I just feel like other serial killers, most of them are men, but I just feel like they're more sneaky and sly. I feel like she's more in your face about it. Like, this is who I am, and don't piss me off.
No, I could see that. But I've always had a soft spot for this crazy woman, so I don't know.
Well, you have to with her upbringing, my God.
Yeah, you do.
I don't expect anything less of this based on that kind of an upbringing.
Yeah, she had, like, the worst life. I'm surprised that her impact wasn't worse on the world, honestly. Mm-hmm. On March 12th, 1988, Aileen went to the police and claimed a Daytona Beach bus driver pushed her off the bus after an argument. In the report of the incident, Aileen listed Tyria as a witness. After that, Aileen really started to ramp things up because Aileen then killed 7 men within a year's time.
7? Woo.
Within a year. She wasted no time. Her first victim was 51-year-old Richard Mallory. Richard was a convicted rapist and owned an electronics store in Clearwater, Florida. On November 30th, 1989, Aileen killed Richard. Aileen said that Richard drove her to a secluded area for sexual requests and instead sodomized and brutally beat her. She later claimed she killed Richard in self-defense. On December 2nd, 1989, Richard's car was found by a Volusia County deputy. The vehicle was abandoned. Finally, on December 13th, Richard's bullet-riddled body was found several miles away in the woods. Richard had been shot multiple times in the chest, but the bullets that ended his life were 2 bullets in his left lung.
So thus far, she sounds like a vigilante to me.
Right, though? Thank you, convicted rapist.
Not condoning murder. I'm just saying. I see where she was coming from.
Well, and I mean, he was a convicted rapist. Like, he had been found guilty of rape on more than one occasion. I didn't dig that far into his personal convictions and stuff because the story isn't about him, but he wasn't a great guy anyways. Not saying he deserved to die, but I'm just saying. Aileen's second victim was 47-year-old David Spears. David was a construction worker who was declared missing on May 19th, 1990. David's naked body was found on June 1st along U.S. Route 19 in Citrus County, Florida. He had been shot 6 times in the torso with a .22 pistol.
Do we know anything about him?
No, not in terms of like he had a criminal history or anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Charles Carskadon, a 40-year-old part-time rodeo worker, was Aileen's third victim. He was killed on May 31st, 1990, but his body wasn't discovered until June 6th. He had been shot 9 times in the chest and stomach and then wrapped in an electrical blanket. His body was badly decomposing, and as I wrote that, I could just smell.
Yeah.
And I've never even smelled a badly decomposing body.
I have not either.
Smelled roadkill, and that smell of roadkill just went through my nose when I wrote that. Ooh. Aileen was later seen driving Charles's car. Because no fucks given. No fucks given.
None. Rebel without a cause.
Wrapped in him in an electrical blanket and then drove his car around town.
You're not going to let that good car go to waste. It's just going to sit there. You might as well drive it.
In June of 1990, a 65-year-old retired sea merchant, Peter Seams, left Jupiter, Florida, headed to Arkansas. However, he never made it there. His car was found in Orange Springs, Florida. On July 4th, 1990, 2 women were seen abandoning the car, and witnesses later identified those women as Aileen and her partner, Tyria. Aileen's palm print was found on the interior door. Peter Sims' body has never been found.
Oh.
never recovered. It is known that by 1990, Tyria had become suspicious of Aileen, if not fully aware of what Aileen was doing, because sometime in 1990, she moved in with her family in Pennsylvania, leaving Aileen behind and heartbroken. The only thing that we know for a fact is that, like, before this was that she knew Aileen was stealing stuff and getting into fights. So, I mean, murder is a huge leap from that. So, no judgment, but she was heartbroken. Literally, till the day she died, Aileen claimed to love Tyria, which is so sad. Aileen's next victim was a 50-year-old sausage salesman from Ocala named Torrey Burris. Torrey was reported missing on July 31st, 1990. Less than a week later, Torrey's decomposed body was found in the woods on State Road 19 in Marion County, Florida. Despite the condition of Torrey's body, the ME was able to determine the cause of death was 2 gunshot wounds to the torso. Then, on September 11th, 1990, Aileen killed Charles Richard Humphreys, a 56-year-old man who went by Dick. Dick was a retired U.S. Air Force major, a former state child abuse investigator, and former chief of police. She, like, really ramped it up because, like, these other guys were, like, lower income, lower profile people. But this guy was not.
No, that's not someone you want to do anything with and get away with it.
No, you're not going to. But his fully clothed body was found the next day in Marion County. He had been shot 6 times in the head and torso. His car was later recovered in Suwannee County. Aileen's final victim was 62-year-old Walter Antonio. Walter was a trucker, a security guard, and a police reserve officer. So I had to look up what a police reserve officer was because I did not know. And it's a retired police officer who have full police powers and either volunteer their time or work as an officer part-time.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like the Army Reserves, but the police reserves. On November 19th, 1990, Antonio's partially naked body was found near a logging trail in Dixie County. Walter had been shot 4 times in the head and torso. Walter's car was found 5 days later in Brevard County, Florida. During the investigations for these murders, witness statements, the palm print, and victims' items that police found at pawn shops all pointed to Aileen. And thanks to Aileen's lengthy criminal record in Florida, her fingerprints were on file and a match to several prints found in victims' cars. There was a media campaign put out to find Aileen Wuornos and Tyria Moore. And that is where I leave you all today.
No!
Please join us next week for the riveting part 2 of Aileen Wuornos, because it only gets crazier from here, folks.
Love our podcast? Then hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
We're also on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/truecrimebuzz and join today for access to all our exclusive content, including bonus episodes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at TC Buzz Podcast.
And check out our website at www.truecrimebuzz.com.
Until next time, cheers!